And we're live. Welcome to another edition of Backyard Sportscast, hot and unedited. I am your host, Dirty Jake. With me, my co-host, Dub Dish, and our senior analyst, Frank Ambrosino.
Why does it gotta be senior?
Yeah, why's it gotta be senior?
He is lacking hair.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
We have
That's harassed.
a 1-win Baylor. We have 5 undefeated teams. And Armageddon.
Gamed in.
That's a really crappy pun you came up with, Danny.
You came
All
up
listing
with
off
it.
the top 10 of today's sportscast.
I didn't put it in the notes. You did.
Well, then why are you correcting me?
Because you're saying it wrong.
I'm saying the thing that I came up with wrong. Got
Yes.
it. Duly noted.
You're trying to get the word game into Armageddon, and you're not.
The point that I'm trying to make is we have a bunch of crazy games going on this week. So shall we just go ahead and start talking about it?
It is a fun week in college football. Do you want to go ahead and start with our Baylor watch?
Yeah, Baylor watch. They won a game. We don't have to do
What?
this anymore. Yeah. They
No, I've told you. Even if they win a game, I'm still doing it. The march to 11 losses is on. This week they play Texas Tech at home. Do you think they have a chance? No.
No, but they did beat Kansas 38-9.
Kansas shouldn't even be a Division I football program.
Yeah, but they did give me my 8th win for worst game of the week. As I predicted, they were going to win by double digits.
Yeah,
I advanced to 8-2 for the season.
You may have 8 wins. I'll have to go back and check to see how you've done against the spread on some of these, because I know this week your pick is favored by 18 points, so we'll have to see if they cover that spread.
Well, the last 3 weeks I've given like a double digits or not.
Right.
And I've
Yeah.
gotten those right.
Yeah. Baylor definitely covered the spread.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I mean that's it for Baylor watch. They won. Congratulations. You beat one of the worst teams in college football. It was huge, and you're gonna lose out now.
Do you want to talk about your 5 undefeated teams, or you want me to take one?
No, you go ahead.
All right, I'll go with the one that not many people are going to care about. Florida State rescheduled their game against Louisiana Monroe
Boo.
in an effort to get to 6 wins. I didn't think they were going to do it. They didn't plan on doing it at the beginning of the year when obviously they didn't realize they were going to be 3-5 at this point in the season. But they've officially rescheduled it for December 2nd, same weekend as championship weekend.
The best championship game of the week.
Yeah, well, it's not a championship game, but they'll still have to win 3 of their remaining games
Want to list them off?
to get 6-6. Delaware State, Florida, Clemson, and Louisiana Monroe. So they have to win 3 of 4. They get Clemson this week, probably a loss, so then they're going to have to win out. I don't think they get it done. It really comes down to the Florida game since they're playing Delaware State, which is an FCS program, and Louisiana Monroe, which...
Hey, the Warhawks have a good chance of beating them.
I wouldn't. No, they don't.
Oh.
But it's really going to come down to that Florida game for bowl eligibility. Probably for both teams, honestly.
I've pretty much dismissed Florida getting bowl eligible.
Well, they're underdogs this week. Who are they playing?
South Carolina.
South Carolina, yeah. So they'll be 3-6. They'd have to win out as well.
What do you think, Frank? Which one of those teams gets bowl eligible?
It's tough to pick against two
If you had to
crappy
put
teams.
Danny's money on it
bowl
right now.
eligible?
Yeah.
If
If you had to put Danny's money on it right
let's
now.
just say 6 wins, because now teams can get there at 5 and 7.
Yeah, because I think one of them might get in with 5 wins.
It's still a big name no matter
But I'd have to push the edge to Florida State in that game. That would probably determine who is bowl eligible.
Right now, I tend to agree. It seems that I know we're talking about Florida State right now, but Florida has pretty much gone belly up.
You guys are fresh off that disturbing performance against Missouri, so let's give it a week or 2 and see how you feel.
Yeah, after that disturbing performance against Georgia.
Well, yeah, but more recently Missouri. I mean, at least Georgia's number 1.
And the disturbing performance with the coach.
Yeah.
All right, take the next one.
All right, next one. There's still 5 undefeated teams. Who's going to lose next? We still have Bama, Georgia, Wisconsin, Miami of Florida, and UCF. Who do you think loses next? Senior analyst Frank?
Well, this week I probably have 2 teams losing.
Fun
One more likely than others, but I did pick Notre Dame to take out Miami, and I also took Iowa to take out Wisconsin.
Which Miami? Because I don't think Miami, Ohio is playing Notre Dame this week.
It is Miami of Florida.
The Miami of Florida.
Oh,
Yes.
The Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes.
What about you, Jake? Who you got? You got any of them losing this week? 4 out of the 5 have pretty tough games.
I could see Wisconsin and Miami of Florida losing.
Okay. I
How
mean,
about you?
the only one that's the underdog is Miami of Florida, of course. Bama's 14-point favorites. Georgia's only a 2.5-point favorite. Wisconsin's 12, I think, and a half-point favorites. And UCF is favored by over 30 points against UConn. But Miami against Notre Dame, that's got to be the one you got. Everybody's going to go with. That's going to be the popular one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with... Damn it, you guys took all the good ones. But I'll go out on a limb and say...
Bama?
Yeah, sure. Mississippi State. Nick Fitzgerald comes out.
Bama.
Nick Fitzgerald comes out and runs all over that Alabama defense.
Yeah.
Not going to happen, but, one can wish.
Mississippi State.
So keep
They're
that
gonna
in
win.
mind that is Danny's replaced upset of the week.
No, it's not. But I think they're going to load the box against Mississippi State. I don't think he's really going to get much going on the ground, and he's not a great passer. So
I don't know how they're ranked in anyways.
Because of that SEC defense.
yeah, okay.
Their 1 wins LSU.
Yeah,
That's a different debate, though.
yeah. It's a whole different
What's the next one, Danny?
topic of discussion.
Ooh,
All right.
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I'll talk about Lane Kiffin next. Florida Atlantic
The team to beat.
made headlines in the offseason, grabbing Lane Kiffin as their new head coach. He then followed it up by grabbing some Last Chance U players who haven't really made much of an impact this year. I think Franklin has gotten in a couple games. I don't think he's been in every game. And Johnson, I'm struggling with DeAndre Johnson, maybe was his first name.
Yeah, DeAndre Johnson, quarterback.
Yeah, quarterback from last season of Last Chance U. He has not seen the field, as far as I know, at the quarterback position. But otherwise, it's been a successful year for Florida Atlantic and for Lane Kiffin. Last year they were 3-9. This year they're already 6-3. They're 5-0 in the conference. Really, their only competition left is Florida International, FIU. And they play them next weekend. After this one, November 18th.
This is all boring stuff. Just tell me what's going on Twitter.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to get more into this because I just want to bore the shit out of Jake. Florida Atlantic, they have what's called the Lane Train, where they take a huge cutout of Lane Kiffin's face. They rent a little train that you can do down there in the Boca Raton, and they drive it all around campus with him on the front.
Oh, I'm glad you continue. This is funny.
Yeah, this is great. But anyway, back to what I actually had
Are they
to talk.
insisting that they might be running train on Lane Kiffin?
No, they're saying that the Lane Train's coming and knocking through all these CUSA opponents. But anyway, on to Twitter. He's still the same old Lane Kiffin self on Twitter. He's having fun. He's taking shots at Tennessee and at Nick Saban, his old mentor. Specifically the rat poison. I think he's posted a couple things about that in his recent posts.
What about the rat poison?
Well, Nick Saban talked about rat poison at one of his press conferences, talking about how the media and the rankings and all that were rat poison for his team because it gets in their head and they get overconfident and that kind of stuff. Mm. So Lane Kiffin's been on the search for whatever the opposite of rat poison is. And he found some sort of weed killer today, and he thinks that's the opposite of rat poison. But other things that he's been on about, last week they were up 7 at the end of the game, but instead of punting the ball away, he had his punter take the snap and run out of the back of the end zone for a safety. So they did not cover the spread. They ended up winning by 5, and the spread was, I think, 6. So he talked about on Twitter how he did not want to cover the spread because it would be rat poison for his team. That was his tweet after the game. So he had a little fun with that. Obviously, it was a joke, but the media was all over that.
That seems crazy he would make his players do that.
Well, he did it. It was a smart play at the
If it
time.
gets blocked, it's a tie ball game. So, I mean...
Yeah, he didn't want to punt the ball away. It was a smart coaching decision. He just made up the stuff about the point spread because it was convenient. And
That's the original reason why safeties were made.
to cover the point spread?
No, to be able to get rid of the ball with a kickoff. It used to be an offensive tactic. Now it never really happens or you really want to do it, but that was originally made so that if the offense is backed up next to their end zone, they could just give 2 points instead of giving the other team good field position or risk them blocking it and returning it.
Right, but then they have to kick off afterwards.
Yeah, but at least when you kick off, it's on the other side of the field now.
I get what you're saying.
So you're basically giving them 2 points, and that's why they call it a safety. It's the safety of not...
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah,
a fun fact.
Fun fact for you. Hope you learned something today. Anyway, there's been no other issues with the NCAA or any ethics issues at Florida Atlantic that he was so fond of at his other schools, USC, Tennessee.
Bama.
I mean, at Bama, he was really just in the news for getting yelled at by Nick Saban all the time. So, but anyway, like I said, it's a big success for them, leading them in the right direction. Florida Atlantic's, I'm sure, happy with their decision. Lane Kiffin's name's out there for coaching jobs. Hello, Florida.
No.
I didn't bring that up last week, but it probably will not happen. You can rest easy on that one. But
if that were to, I might be full-time USF fan.
He's probably going to go somewhere. You have to imagine that he's had his 1 year at his lower school. He's built them back up. His name's being talked about positively again. He's probably going to get an offer at a bigger school somewhere.
UCF?
Possibly UCF. That would be awesome. I'd be down for that. I love Lane Kiffin.
I love you.
Okay. Anyway, move on.
On to Danny's Dudes.
No.
I'm just...
No, we're not.
What's my next one? Ooh, who's ready for another segment of Was It Justified?
Oh, boy.
So last week we talked about that defensive quality coach at Dartmouth. Dartmouth. And so I thought that was fun, talking about if him punching a hole into the press box was justifiable or not. And, I think we all
that was an
came to
interesting
the
discussion.
the general consensus was that it was in fact justified.
It went a little long. It was not justified. Jesus.
But I did see this in the funnies the other day. So there's a FCS Walter Payton finalist quarterback. Okay. Plays at Eastern Washington.
Eastern Washington, FCS powerhouse.
Yes. Oh. So he and his buddy, who's a linebacker, and this other random guy who I don't know much about, they're out just having fun, partying, and his friend that nobody knows much about decides to, ruin some property downtown, some private property. So these cops go up in there, and they're getting ready to arrest him for doing such. And this quarterback, great, Gage Gubrud.
Yeah, you talk about my pronunciations.
How would you pronounce that?
I would go with a QB great Gage Gubrud.
So anyways, this guy, that's kind of how he was talking. He walks up to the police officers, right, and he says, "No, you can't arrest my friend." And then he starts cussing at the police. He's trying to resist the arrest, and in turn gets arrested himself.
So is he intoxicated?
Oh yeah,
the quarterback was intoxicated.
Yeah, the quarterback and the linebacker are both fairly drunk when trying to cuss and stop these police officers.
Okay.
So I did make a fun pun.
Oh boy.
Due to the intoxicated interference on the offense, brief jail time and arrest is the penalty. Repeat first down?
No.
Okay.
At least it's still first down.
But this guy, it's kind of a shame. He and that linebacker are going to be suspended for this game. Kind of funny that it's only 1 game suspension. But, he's doing pretty good. This will be the first game he doesn't start. He's already thrown for almost 3,000 yards, 2,900 yards, and has thrown 22 touchdowns this season. So they're going to be missing him this week. So my question to you is, was he justified?
No. Thank you, Frank. Common sense, quick answer. No, he wasn't.
He's sticking up for his friend.
Are you looking... He was drunk.
Drunk and the police don't mix, especially when you're in college.
Dude, those police, though.
What about
it? It was probably brutality.
No, they were arresting or doing something with this linebacker who was destroying property. He deserved to be arrested, for sure. So,
maybe.
First off, you shouldn't be telling...
I want to know why he was destroying the property. Maybe it was justified.
There's very few instances where it would be okay to destroy public property.
Name one of those opportunities. I'm curious now.
I don't think there would be any off the top of my head, but the look you gave me made me think that you had one.
He was speaking because of a particular, a movement or something.
They still can't destroy public property. Anyway, the quarterback steps in, inebriated. He shouldn't be talking to the police because he's probably underage, if I'm being honest. I don't know what his age is, but I'm guessing, most college athletes aren't the age of 21. And he shouldn't have been talking to the cops. He was drunk, and it is obstructing justice if he's in the way of an arrest that they're trying to make. So that's not justified.
I'm sorry, man. I just don't see anything wrong with what you're saying.
And then cussing out the cops.
He shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea.
I would have arrested him, too, if he cussed at me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's where the line is.
Yeah.
So I think the arrest was justified for sure.
I tend to agree. I'm just having some fun at his expense.
I get him wanting to stick up for his teammate, but he just ended up costing his team more in the long run.
Yeah.
And probably himself. Because if this is a voted on thing like the Heisman is, those voters are going to look at that and they're not going to want to vote for him.
Yeah. No, he probably screwed himself over there. But keep an eye out for when next NFL draft is.
No, I don't think Gage is high on the draft boards right now.
You just wait. Tom Brady's replacement. Gage Gubrud.
No.
Gubrud. All right, you got the next one.
Okay. Sticking with my coaching items here.
Great.
There was a battle between two coaches. There's a reason I'm doing this one next. There was a battle between two coaches over the past week. NC State and Clemson. Dave Dorn at NC State and Dabo Sweeney at Clemson. Clemson beat NC State last week in 38-31 in a closely contested matchup. Came down to the wire.
Good game.
NC State coach Dave Dorn, after the game, suggested Clemson should be investigated for having a laptop on their sideline during the game. This would violate the NCAA's sideline technology if a coach was using it. However, it was a student worker using this laptop to handle the social media account of the school. So it violated no rules. And Dabo didn't seem to take too kindly to this accusation. He responded on Tuesday to NC State and Dave Dorn. He said he did an investigation. Said he found out, there was a major crisis. Clemson was running out of towels for their quarterback, Kelly Bryant, because NC State defensive end Bradley Chubb, highly touted, kept stealing them from the Clemson quarterback during the game. I think he stole at least 3 or 4 during the entire game. And Dabo said they were trying to have an Amazon drone come in and drop off some towels on the sideline for him so that Kelly Bryant could, keep his hands dry.
I feel like these coaches try too hard to be funny with the rat poison and the Amazon drones.
Obviously, it was a joke. But Dabo also stated Coach Dorn should probably pay attention to his own sidelines and not the Clemson sideline.
Oh!
An NC State assistant a couple years ago, 2015, shoved Deshaun Watson after Deshaun ran out of bounds on the NC State sideline. And then on Saturday, after the game-winning interception came in by Kayvon Wallace of Clemson, another assistant took a swipe at him on the NC State sideline. So Dabo's just, letting Dave Dorn know maybe you should keep an eye on your own assistants and get them in check before you're, calling out investigations on other schools.
Dabo, maybe you should make your players, be aware of what sideline they're running into.
Well,
Take some responsibility for your actions.
I don't think he's going to do that.
No, you're probably right. That's pretty funny, though. I love it when these coaches that get paid millions of dollars just decide to act like children.
Mm-hmm. It is what it is. He thought there was a violation, so he called him out. And then Dabo said, no violation. But
gave him the finger.
If we open an investigation into you, maybe we'll find some violations.
Ooh. Frank, any word on that? Any comments? Good note. Mm-hmm. How the mighty has fallen, Danny.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
The Big Ten.
Big Ten, rough weekend.
Saquon Barkley?
Saquon Barkley, rough weekend.
How the mighty have fallen.
We'll get to him in a second.
Yeah. Ohio State lost. And
yes, they did.
They did not just lose.
Yes, they did.
They did not just lose. Let's all take a second to just lull at them. Lull with me.
No.
Lull with me.
Or should we just have
My team is 3 and...
a moment of silence for the Big Ten not making the Final Four?
We could do that, because that's very likely.
All right, moment of silence. Okay, that's enough.
Yep.
Ohio State, what was that score? Like 55-17, 55-20?
I'll look it up. You continue.
55-24. Lost to Iowa. Which I thought was hysterical. I love that. But that being said,
let's try and hide our hate for the Big Ten a little bit there, champ.
It's not so much the Big Ten, it's just Ohio State.
Ah, okay.
I mean, I'm sad that Penn State lost their second straight with a 27-24 loss to Michigan State University.
Michigan State turning it on at the end of the season.
I know, right? And now they're huge, the huge underdogs in this next game, to a team that just lost 55-24 to Iowa, unranked Iowa.
I think that's fair. I don't think a lot of people would have Michigan State winning that game.
You think Michigan State loses by 3 scores? Or
I think
more?
the spread's a little high.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not saying that they should be favored, but
I just think Ohio State's going to win that game. The spread's high for a number 12 versus number 13 matchup. It's 17 points. I know it's at the Horseshoe, but
It is a high spread, and according to one of our professional gamblers, who is a viewer of the show, I question if he's a viewer of the show. He does urge to bet against the spread there for that game. Go with Michigan State beating the spread.
there you go.
Yeah, they have a good defense. It's tough to see them losing by multiple scores, just period.
Yeah, and if JT Barrett comes out and turns the ball over like he did last week against Iowa, then yikes.
Yeah. So he's out of the run again.
Yeah, I'm going to get to the Heisman watch here in a minute, but...
In the last one, they're not at Big 10, but they're Big 12. Iowa State's fun has ended with a very close 20-16 loss to West Virginia.
Yeah, it was a nice little Cinderella story, but they were never getting to the playoff. They had
I wasn't talking about
they had
playoff.
two
They just had a
losses.
good run, though.
Okay.
I wasn't going to say.
Their best shot was winning the Big 12. They had to run the table. Probably had to beat TCU or Oklahoma for a second time.
I never would imagine that they would have been close to the playoffs. I was just saying they had fun.
No. But I'm saying, though, is their best shot was winning the Big 12.
Yeah.
And they would have had to... I mean, West Virginia is still a good team, good offense. I mean, yeah, they weren't ranked when they had to play them, but... I mean, they still had to run through Oklahoma or TCU the second time. Their schedule was not easy.
No.
Big 12-wise. And
led by one of the youngest coaches in the NCAA.
Yeah, I heard he's probably going to have some offers elsewhere, maybe in the SEC or...
Oklahoma's got a young coach, too, Lincoln Riley. And Justin Fuente over at Virginia Tech's pretty young as well. A lot of young coaches coming onto the scene now, replacing some of the older guys.
Yeah, we don't need those senile people.
Okay. But, the Big 10, Big 12, and Pac-12 all over the place now.
Yeah.
They're all beating themselves up. It's what
3
the
out of
SEC
5 conferences may not make it.
It's what the SEC likes to claim every year, that they beat themselves up. But it's really the other conferences doing that this year.
Yeah. Everyone's doing it. The playing field is getting very level.
Yeah, you have 2 undefeated SEC teams and then a whole bunch of 1-loss teams.
Yeah.
Outside of the 5 the other 3 that we talked about.
Yeah.
But let's get over to Danny's dudes. Huh?
I'm going to take 2 in a row here. I'm going to go into my stat guys from last week, and then I'm going to go straight into the Heisman watch.
Daily dudes?
Okay, whatever.
Danny dudes.
Whatever you say, man. Whatever you want it to be.
Dude Ranch. Go ahead.
Not that one.
Sorry.
Okay. Anyway, same top 3 as last week. Saquon Barkley, Bryce Love, Baker Mayfield. In a little bit different order. I'd have Baker Mayfield at the top of the class now.
Same.
Just so everybody knows, though, the Heisman is not solely stat-based. I do cover just stats when I talk about these guys mainly. But...
attractiveness goes along.
No. Typically, with the Heisman and the way the voting process works, team record comes into play more often than not. Team success, if you're there at the end of the year challenging for a national title. Everybody wants to see a Heisman winner play for a title, so that typically comes into effect. That's why you don't see guys like Lamar Jackson up near the top anymore. They've got too many losses for them to justify it, even though he's got better stats than some of these guys up here. But Saquon Barkley, another lackluster week. 14 carries, 63 yards, no touchdowns. He had 3 catches for 33 yards, but...
back-to-back weeks like that, I think he...
Right, no touchdowns in the back. Well, he did have a touchdown, or I think 2 last week. But against Michigan State this week, no touchdowns. That's rough. Anybody in the Heisman race. Plus, he didn't really do much on the ground. He didn't touch the ball that often, and they lost. So it kind of just hurt them all around.
Correlation there.
Bryce Love, his team, also not doing well, which is going to push him out of it, unfortunately. He's having a great year. Last week, his worst performance of the year, 16 carries, 69 yards, and 1 touchdown against Washington State. I think his 1 touchdown was, 30 or 40 yards long. So most of his other carries in that game, not much success for him on the ground against one of the better Pac-12 teams.
And he only carried the ball like 13 times.
16 times for 69 yards.
I thought they listened to you, Danny. I thought they listened to you about giving him the ball more.
They did not. And they lost that game. So, he still got 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns on the year, but I don't think it's going to be enough at the end of the year. For a running back, you really got to score 20 times almost. It seems like almost a benchmark now.
Yeah, the way Baker Mayfield's looking after a huge win last week.
Yeah, he got a big win, which helps him out, and he threw for 600 yards and 5 touchdowns, and he ran one in. So 6 total touchdowns, 600 yards. That'll do it. So he's the front runner.
Big game for him this week.
Yeah, TCU.
Probably
the best defense in the
Probably
Big
the
12.
best defense we'll see. May have to see him twice this week and possibly the conference championship. So I think if he has a big game this week, I think he all but locks it up.
I just can't get over how efficient he is. 71%.
71%. That's good.
And it's not like he's checking the ball down.
Yeah. That's good.
He goes deep a
he
lot.
just put up, 60 points last week?
Yeah.
I don't think every pass there was a check down.
Yeah,
So,
when you see 600 yards, it's not.
Exactly. So, 71%, it doesn't matter what division you're in. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Frank and Danny are sweating right now, by the way. Thanks, Baker Mayfield.
I'm not sweating.
He's licking his chops, though.
Okay. Anyway, so that was the Heisman watch. I'll jump into my weekly, my Danny's Dudes, as Jake likes to call it. We did that a little backwards, but QB was Baker Mayfield. We just listed off his stats, so
Sweaty.
Not really much to talk about there. For running back, Rashad Penny, he's in the top 6 or 7 for the Heisman. From San Diego State. San Diego State. 20 carries for 234 yards and 3 touchdowns in a 52-7 win over terrible San Jose State.
San Jose State?
Yes.
We're going to talk about them later.
All right. And then the wide receiver, it's also in the Oklahoma game. There was 114 points in that game. I usually don't like to put 2 from the same game in my weekly stat guys, Danny's Dudes, whatever you want to call it. But Marquise Brown, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, 9 receptions, 265 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that 62-52 win over Oklahoma State.
So about half of Baker Mayfield's yards.
Yeah, about half of his yards.
See, he's not that good. He's one-dimensional. Those are the same guy.
Well, he completed 15 other passes to different people, and Marquise Brown isn't really lighting the world on fire in terms of receiving yards this year. So, but as always, if any of you listeners have any incredible stat lines from the weekend, send them in to BYSC Podcast or at DubDish for a chance to be featured in next week's podcast.
And for those of you that might be discouraged, it's not really a chance. If you submit something, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, we've gotten approximately 0 entries so far, so that's why you haven't heard new ones on the week-to-week basis. But, eventually it'll catch on.
You'd be our best friend.
Yeah, great.
Armageddon time.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
What is that?
Armageddon.
Thank you, Frank.
Is what you call when you have 7.
Count them 7.
7 25 v top 25
Jesus Christ,
matchups.
Awesome.
What was that, Danny?
Nothing.
3 top 10 matchups this week. It's like a huge college football playoffs matchup type of thing.
Yeah, it's a big weekend for college football.
Yeah. A lot of stakes at play. Gonna really
Stakes at play.
Yep.
Medium rare.
yeah.
Nice.
Had too much beer, I guess. This is going to really define and shape what our final 4 playoff contenders are going to be.
Yeah, you want to roll through the 7, or do you want to give the top 10 for the college football rankings from this week? Do you want to run through the 7 games that you were just talking about, or do you want to give the top 10 from the college football rankings?
We don't need to see the top 10 because the top 4 did not change. Penn State and Ohio State just kind of dropped out. And that's about all that.
Yeah, but 5 through 8 is pretty important. But, okay, all right, we won't tell anybody what the rankings are. Go ahead.
Everyone knows what they are. They came out, Monday? Tuesday?
Night.
It's been over a day now. Fine. Number 5 is Oklahoma. 6 is TCU. 7 is Miami of Florida. 8 is Wisconsin. 9 is Washington. And 10 is Auburn.
Yeah, and can you tell me why the Miami and Wisconsin ones are important? Why Miami of Florida being ahead of Wisconsin is important?
Because they're both undefeated.
Because they're both undefeated. And if they continue on this stretch, Miami's going to end the season undefeated because Wisconsin does not have the schedule to jump Miami. So Wisconsin could end up out of the playoff even if they go undefeated.
Neat.
It's potential. I would love to delve into that one day, but my co-host thinks it's boring, so.
It's not a boring thing, Danny. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
You take that back.
All right, so we got our 7 matchups here.
Yes.
We'll briefly go through each one. Go ahead.
Okay. First one up, Michigan State, number 12, at number 13, Ohio State. Mm-hmm. As one of our listeners has stated, and we will all back up, you need to definitely choose Michigan State and bet copious amounts of money.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
On that game.
Okay, you know what? Bet.
Not
don't bet. Don't gamble.
Yeah.
That's an addiction.
Not
Don't do
necessarily take Michigan State, but the
Right.
spread is in their favor.
Right, yes. I think Ohio State wins the game, but I think they cover the spread.
Copious amounts of money.
All right, game 2. Number 15.
Do you don't want to talk about the game at all? That's all you want to say?
I said briefly, and I don't want you to continue on your copious. You're advising people
We
to bet
talked about
copious
this game
amounts of money.
earlier, too, so...
Yeah. Anyway, second game, number 15, Oklahoma State at number 21, Iowa State. Oklahoma State is 6.5-point favorite on the road.
It all depends on which team thinks their season's over.
Yeah. I think it's over for Iowa State. I think it's only downhill from here. I got Mason Rudolph winning this game.
Yeah, I think Iowa State peaked. And
Yeah.
they're on the steady decline. They had a good season. It was good for them.
Yeah, they're gonna go to a bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
People are gonna go want to see him play now.
they're a pretty young team, too, so...
Kyle Kempf.
Cool. Thank you.
I hope he keeps his job next year. I want to see him play again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna let our guest talk about this next one.
Georgia, Auburn.
Number 1 Georgia and number 10.
1 Georgia. Saying that just scares me.
Yeah, Georgia is a 2.5-point favorite on the road.
Against a
I
two-loss
know
Auburn.
one of my teams is bound to let me down.
Yeah.
And this game being in Auburn scares me. If it was at night, which this game never is, would scare me more.
It's scary to me because Auburn's looking better and better each week.
They are, and their offense is good, but
Georgia's also looking good.
it's the strong point of Georgia is their defense. And their defense hasn't looked like they've had many holes. They struggled a little bit against Notre Dame.
A little bit against Florida.
Their second string kind of struggled against Florida.
And some third string.
But I think they find a way to make the big play when it counts. I do think that the spread is accurate, but I think Georgia finds a way to pull it out within 7 points.
All right.
Fromm's gonna have to throw the ball.
Yeah, that's what I kind of like what they did last week.
Yeah.
Against South Carolina. They only beat him by 14, but they let Fromm throw the ball like 30 times, which was good for him. He needs the experience because they got to start preparing him for Alabama eventually.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing that they do, they throw it to their running backs, and he's not gonna try to make that big play downfield. The only time you'll really see him throw downfield is the old flea flicker against Mississippi State. Other than that, it's going to be check down, and when you have 4 good running backs to throw it to, I don't know why you wouldn't.
Here's a little fun question I got for you guys.
Okay. Well, first, give us your prediction for this game.
Oh, I think this would be a close game, but the number 1 Georgia also scares me when wanting to say Georgia because they have been looking so good. And is it just going to stop? Are they going to keep going?
You have that fear of Georgia dropping a big game. I get it,
But I would still go with Georgia.
Okay.
I'd put Danny's money on Georgia.
Okay.
What about you, Danny?
I have Georgia as well. I'm not very confident in it at all. I think if Auburn wins this game, then they're going to go on to beat Alabama as well, which will make things really interesting.
A 2-loss Auburn would make it in, I think.
Well,
with
they're
those
10
two
right
wins, with those 2 wins, I think
they're 10 right now. It'd be tough though because if they beat either of these teams close, they're not going to hop them.
You're still beating number 1 and number 2 in the country.
Yeah, but
They're not going to hop them right away, but you get both wins.
if you get both wins,
Get both wins.
Maybe you still got those 2 losses.
If they get both wins, are they the West champion?
If they get both wins, they will be the West champion, and they'll get to play
So
Georgia.
they'll definitely
again.
hop Alabama.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think if they take...
I personally would vote that way if I was on the committee, but I don't think the committee does it. Because I think if Bama loses this game loses the game close to Auburn right before the championship, I think Bama drops to.
So you're saying conference
4?
champions don't matter?
Conference champions do hold weight. I get it, but if
Bama holds more.
I'm just saying, Auburn's 10 right now. Bama's 1 or 2. How far do you think Bama drops if they lose close? To 5, maybe? Maybe 5? You think Auburn hops all the way up?
If they beat Georgia and Bama, I do.
Okay. They'd have to beat Georgia twice.
Because also think about all these teams that are playing.
And that's the difficult game. Is beating Georgia the second time.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting debate.
And think about, with Notre Dame and Miami playing each other, one of those teams that are in front of Auburn is going to drop, so stuff like that. Then you can see Wisconsin easily
two
losing.
of them are this week.
Yeah, there's going to be 2 top 10 teams dropping.
So you move up to 8.
That helps them. Well, but you're going to hop other teams too for beating a number 1 team in the country.
Well, they're number 2.
Georgia's number 1.
We're talking about beating both teams.
Well, yeah, okay. Once we get into them beating both teams, then maybe. But if they lose this game to Georgia, then they can beat Bama and still not get into the championship.
Well, yeah, that third loss would do them in.
Yeah. Well, no, that would be the end for Auburn season. But I'm not sold on the committee letting a 2-loss team in like that, just because of what they did in the last couple weeks of the season.
It's usually, sometimes it's just how you finish.
Yeah.
Needless to say, if Auburn wins out, the committee's going to have some headaches to work through.
Yeah, probably. All right, next game. Number 20, Iowa. Number 8, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's favored by 12.5. I know that you two both seem to think they're going to fall this week, yeah?
I like to think so. This will be definitely the toughest game they play all season so far.
Yeah.
And
I got Wisconsin.
I can see them winning still because Iowa did just come off of a huge victory.
They're very similar teams.
Yeah. They both have, on paper, they both have good, very good defenses.
Yeah.
Wisconsin hasn't exactly played any offenses to help solidify whether or not we think that defense is as good as the numbers say.
I just think people are getting a little too caught up in Iowa's 55 points against Ohio State. Iowa does not have good offense.
No, they don't have a good offense. But if you look at their losses, it's 7 points to a decently good Northwestern team in overtime. Yeah, they probably should have beat them in regulation. But then they have a 7-point loss at Michigan State and then a 2-point loss to Penn State. So, the games they've lost, it hasn't been their defense is there. And so I think that's how they can pull the upset. If they can jump on Wisconsin early like Indiana did, because Indiana was winning that game by 10 before they blew them out of the water. I think Iowa has the defense to be able to make that 10 points hold up if they can jump on Wisconsin early.
You have to jump on them early. They're a run-heavy team. But anyway, moving on. Number 2, Alabama, and number 16, Mississippi State. Bama's favored by 14.
I'll take that because it's Alabama.
Okay.
Yep. Alabama by... I probably have Alabama by 20.
This is one of potentially 3 tests that Bama's going to have coming up here. This is probably the middle game of difficulty. I just think to beat Bama, you need a mobile quarterback that can push the ball downfield. Bama's got a lot of injuries on defense. They're not as strong defensively as they were when they started the year. But Fitzgerald can move the ball on the ground. If he can do that during this game, I think they have a chance.
So you're saying Alabama is going to lose, like we talked about earlier.
Well, I told you if we had to take one. It's not my favorite pick, but I'll take it just to take it. It's not my upset pick of the week, but...
You heard it here first, folks.
But yeah, Mississippi State. They got a shot. I think Auburn's got the best chance. I think Georgia's going to be the easiest of those 3 games for Bama, just because of the way the teams their play style is. But... that's how I see it. So you guys got Bama?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 3, Notre Dame. At number 7, Miami of Florida. Notre Dame, 3.5-point favorites on the road. Frank's a Miami fan. He's got to secretly root for Miami no matter what he says here.
But he's not even going to watch the game.
Well, okay. Well, that's not his fault.
I will attempt to watch the game if my phone is still
there you go.
still buzzing along. Notre Dame's run attack scares me. They saw the mobile quarterback at Virginia Tech last week, and they were able to bottle him up. But, what is it, Adams?
Yeah, Josh Adams.
Josh Adams. He's a different breed, though. He's
he's the running back. Brandon Wimbush, the quarterback. He can run. Like you said, he can't throw that well. So if they can do what they did to Virginia Tech's quarterback,
Yeah.
I think they're going to be all right. A huge game for both teams, by the way.
The only thing that may save Miami is that it's home. It's very hard to beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame under the lights. So the fact that this one is home might be the reason Miami wins. Their offense has been picking it up a little bit lately. Homer has come into his own a little bit. Still not Mark Walton, but he's come into his own. But I still think Notre Dame finds a way to pull it out.
I'll be rooting for Miami. Who you got, Jake?
I
Stop
have
playing
Notre
with that.
Dame. You know, I mean, what?
Nothing. I was just saying stop playing with that. I was making too much noise. Continue.
You're making too much noise. You're interrupting me.
All right.
Notre Dame's gonna win.
Okay. Last one. Number 6 TCU at number 5 Oklahoma. Oklahoma a 6.5-point favorite at home. Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield.
I mean, honestly, I'm an Oklahoma homer on this one. I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield. I want to see him win. TCU's toughest defense they're going to play in the Big 12, so we'll see. I don't think that TCU's going to be able to keep them under 30 points. I don't think... and they talked about this on the ranking show for anybody who watched it. David Pollack brought it up. He says Oklahoma would drop 30 on Bama. He says that Oklahoma's the most sure bet in the country right now to drop 30 every game. And I don't disagree with that. Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the country, in my opinion. And I don't think TCU is going to hold them down. TCU, the game they lost to Iowa State, 14-7. They can't have a game like that. They'll get blown out of the water here.
You don't think Trill can do it?
Who?
Trill?
Oh, Kenny Trill Hill, the quarterback on the other team?
Yeah.
No.
Can beat Oklahoma?
No.
Yeah.
If this turns to a shootout, this game's going Oklahoma's way, I promise.
Yeah,
I promise.
Sure.
Easy. No, I have the same way.
If they keep Oklahoma under 30, though, anything goes. Oklahoma's defense is terrible.
Yeah.
We'll see. It'll be a good test for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But, yeah, basically, with how Baker Mayfield's been playing, I was thinking TCU earlier in the season. TCU would probably run the table, but I don't think anymore.
Nah. That loss to Iowa State hurt them in a lot of people's eyes when they only scored 7 points.
Yeah.
All right, Jake. Moving on to the rest of the week that we got going on here. We already talked about game of the week. We just have the worst game of the week for you, and then we'll talk about our upset picks and get on out of here.
All right, so everyone go ahead and start getting on their phones as I talk about the worst game of the week.
Perfect.
I'll make this one fast. San Jose State University, 1-9.
They're bad.
They're very bad.
Remember when they almost beat USF?
Shut up. It was week 0.
That's true.
And they're playing at Nevada, which is 1-8. Nevada is favored by 18 points. This game's boring. It's a worst game of the week by far.
Yeah, I mean, Nevada's favored by 18, though, so I think they're probably going to win this game.
Yeah, I have them winning, and I have them winning by double digits, so I'll make it a little bit harder on myself and say by double Ds. Because Danny.
Well, no, by 18 plus.
I'm sorry, is this your worst game of the week segment?
I'm just saying, man, if you want to have any sort of,
Respect.
Yeah. If
All
you
right.
want anybody to care about your picks.
All right, they're going to win by 20 points or more.
All right, there you go. That's the way.
So, and here's why. San Jose State, this is kind of funny to me. Their leading rusher doesn't even have a touchdown.
And who is their leading rusher? Is it the running back?
Yeah.
Nice.
Doesn't even have a touchdown this season. That's 10 games in.
Yeah, I mean, that's not good for your offense.
No, he only has like 600 yards rushing.
Man, they put up like 20-something on USF, too. I don't... they must have all been passing touchdowns.
Their quarterback only has 1,000 yards passing, and he's thrown 8 touchdowns and 5 picks.
I wonder if he's been the starter all year. That'd be something to look into, honestly.
Yeah,
Either way, it's not great.
Yeah.
That your leading passer's got that at this point in the season.
If you want to look into San Jose State's stuff, have fun, I guess. If you're, right, yeah. And their defense does give up 42 points per game, so they're not very good.
No,
There's a reason why
great.
they're 1-9.
It's not great.
Yeah. Nevada's quarterback does have 1,800 yards passing, and he's thrown 17 touchdowns, but also 9 picks, which
I mean, 9 picks is
it's a lot of turnovers.
It's one a game. It's not ideal, but it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. Defense is a little bit better, but not by much. They give up 37 points a game.
Yeah, both teams play in the Mountain West. Yeah.
Yes. It does seem like a pretty high spread to me. They're still both one-win teams. So the spread seems a little high. I didn't see Nevada playing like a bunch of better competition over San Jose State, but I'm going to go ahead and just say they're going to win by 20 plus. They have the home field advantage, and Nevada clearly has a more established offense. So if you're looking at the two teams, Nevada averages about 25 points a game. San Jose State's like at 16 or 17, something like that. So we'll see. I'm 8-2 on the season for worst game of the week, looking to go 9-2. And let's see where it goes.
Yeah, it's real interesting. San Jose State, by the way, haven't even kept any of their games close. Their last 5 games, they've been blown out in pretty much every single one except for their loss to Hawaii, which they lost by 11. That's been their closest game in their last 5.
Hawaii.
Yeah, rough. All right, so we want to move on to upset of the week?
Yeah, let's do upset of the week.
Okay, so covering the last week's picks, I picked Oklahoma over Oklahoma State. They won 62-52. Moves me to 3-4 on the season. Jake picked Iowa State over West Virginia. Ooh, sorry. Ooh. West Virginia won that game 20-16. Moves Jake to 3-5 on the year. And then Joe, who is not with us tonight, he picked Army over Air Force, and Army did lay it on Air Force, 21-0.
Took an easy one.
Moves him to 2-2 on the year. Frank, our guest this week, is 0-1 on the year. You'll remember him from his mid-Tennessee over Vanderbilt pick back in week 1.
Idiot.
It did not work out well for him back then, but let's see if he can redeem himself. Frank, who you got this week?
Like I talked about earlier, I have Iowa over Wisconsin.
Ballsy.
Yeah, I've already talked about this a couple times already tonight, so I'll make it brief. I just think they find a way to jump on Wisconsin early, and I think their defense holds up. So I think they find a way to squeak one out in Wisconsin and ruin the Big Ten's dreams.
That would be tough for Big Ten fans, because that would all but eliminate them. Who you got, Jake?
Well, I was going to make a surprise and say, hey, I was going to do... I'm not going to use the one that I chose. I wanted Iowa over Wisconsin because I think they're going to win too. But since you guys gave me crap about it already, I'm just going to keep it. I have Utah beating number 19 Washington State. It's going to be a hard one for me to win. It's a 1-point favorite.
Yeah. 1 point.
Hey, remember when Utah was ranked?
That's why the rankings are bogus.
Then they lost 4 straight. But their losing is done. They did win last week. A pretty strong win over a strong and tough UCLA team.
A 4-5 UCLA team.
Okay.
Their quarterback's going number 1 though, all right?
Yeah, that is a whole nother debate.
Sam Darnold will go number 1.
He's coming back. He's coming back to USC.
He's not going to the draft without Heisman. Anyways, that's a different team.
He ain't going to the draft.
I just have Utah winning. I mean, I didn't really have a whole lot behind this. It's a home game for Utah. I think they're kind of come back around.
You heard it here first, folks. Jake, moving on to 3-6 on the year. Rough.
Who do you have?
I've got Army. Fresh off that 21-0 win over Air Force.
Taking a page out of Joe's book, huh?
They're playing Duke this week. Duke's favored. Not sure why. They're favored by 3. Duke's 4-5. Army's 7-2. The game's at noon. Army's going to come ready to play. Triple option. They're going to run it down Duke's throat.
I heard Coach K is going to show up for this game.
That'll be interesting. I mean, since he probably has a basketball game this week, and I think it's opening day for their basketball team. But Duke's got Army this week and then Georgia Tech next week. So 2 triple option teams in a row. I don't think they're going to be ready this week, and I think they're going to fall.
And fall hard.
Plus, I need them to lose because I bet the under on their season win total. So, go Army!
I hope they wear their camo uniforms. I said it last week. I hope.
They're on the road, aren't they?
They are on the road.
Yeah, I think they do.
All right.
Great.
Got anything else for us, Jake?
No, let's go ahead and take it over to our listeners and see what they want us to talk about.
Okay, do we have anything?
How much Jameis Winston sucks.
Okay.
Well, folks, as we stated last week, this is a college football podcast.
For the record, I don't believe Jameis does suck. I think he's taking a lot of crap for his terrible pregame speech, I guess you could call it, to his team, where he talked about eating W's.
You want a W?
Yeah, it was not great. And then they proceeded to go out and get blown out.
Should I pull his speech before the national championship a couple years ago?
No, because they won that game.
Do you want me to pull it? He was saying at like halftime or something? It was illegible.
That's fine. That has nothing to do with all this. I don't think Jameis sucks. I think Tampa fans are falling on hard times because, 1, their defense sucks. 2, their offensive line sucks. And they have a lot of holes on their team that they need to figure out. Well, quarterback should not be their first thing that they need to look to patch up right now. But that's all we're really going to say about Jameis. I don't think he's really the problem in Tampa Bay. I think they've got a lot more going on there.
I will also say that he got fined $12,000 for pushing somebody. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, he came out and apologized.
And his teammate came out and got his back and got suspended for a game.
Yeah,
so,
Evans got a game.
Good leadership.
Yeah, that was rough. It was a weird video, too, because it looked like he was kind of like pointing, but it looked like he was intentionally like pointing like in that guy's ear hole.
Not touching you.
Right. So, I'm not sure what led to all that. It was a crazy weekend with Jalen Ramsey and AJ Green getting in that fight, too.
Yeah. The thing was with that, too, that was after already he left the game with an injury, so I don't know what he's doing standing up in the first place. He shouldn't be
anywhere
near the sideline after your injury. So
bottom line, for all those people that questioned him coming out of college and all his character issues and everything, this is really one of the first instances of him getting in trouble in the NFL, and it's really something minor.
Yeah.
It's nothing off the field.
It's
It's something that happened during the game. They just came off the sideline and got a little too heated with the corner.
Yeah, it's not like he choked somebody out and punched him in the helmet.
Right, no suspension for that, though. But
AJ Green, great guy.
Yeah. In the great words of Jameis.
I guess we can do this. Let's just say that. For any listeners, I guess what we can do, we can talk college football at the end of the show. If you have anything unrelated to the college football world, any other sports you want us to bring up, I guess you can bring it up. Last week we talked a little bit about the Olympics and skeleton and whatever the hell else.
Well, man, if you want to make this official, you got to bring up the ladder first. You have to get that approved by corporate.
Okay, I've approved it. That's 50%. So, Jake, it really just needs you for the other 50%. I'll buy you out of your 1% so that I can have majority if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead and buy me some milk.
All right, great. Done. So I now own 51%, and I make the rules. So it's been decided.
In the great words of Jameis Winston, I said, "Are you strong?" They said, "I'm strong if you strong." I said, "We strong then."
Beautiful.
National champion.
National champion.
Right, national championship. Say all you want. I won that game.
Yeah, you're right. But that's all we got. I could try and call one of my friends, but
We're at 52 minutes.
Oh, we're done then.